Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. According to Build, Manchester United are interested in Marcel Sabitzer from RB Leipzig. Now RB Leipzig want £36 million to sell him this summer. Liverpool and Tottenham are also interested in Marcel Sabitzer. Marcel Sabitzer has been at RB Leipzig since 2014. RB Leipzig got him from Rapid Vienna. He's got a year left on his contract. He scored 99 goals in his career. 50 of them have come at RB Leipzig. He did have a loan spell with Red Bull Salzburg, and before he's played for Admira Wacker. He is the age of 27. Marcel Sabitzer is predominantly a box-to-box midfielder. He has been deployed as a defensive midfielder before. So, would you take him at Manchester United? Now, I want to give you some news on Mino Raiola. You know, he's been doing a lot of talking recently. So he's warned Man United over the Erling Halland and Pogba transfers. He has said a few stuff in regards to Erling Haaland. He's come out and said maybe he made a mistake on Erling Haaland's future. And he says that, you know, his move to Borussia Dortmund was maybe too careful. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to sign Erling Haaland, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer gave Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. And Solskjaer has come out and revealed how impressed he was with Erling Haaland's training at Molde. And there was narratives coming out not so long ago saying that Solskjaer keeps calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United. Earlier on this season, he said he was following Erling Haaland's progress and he's keeping in touch with him. Erling Haaland's father, Finch Haaland, has spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United before. He's spoken about his son's career and his prospects, and he's actually advised him to join Man City. There's a good chance Haaland will leave Dortmund in the summer transfer window, especially if Dortmund fail to qualify for the Champions League. Now, it said not so long ago that Dortmund had revealed their asking price for Haaland. It's £154 million. Dortmund are going to find it extremely difficult to sell him if they are demanding that much. But the main explanations I'd take him at Man United is because he's young, he's got a lot of development in him, he dramatically improves, he'd assure his goals, and plus he knows Solskjaer very well. Since his arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him, and he's got a contract with them until 2024, and he's been there over a year. He does have a £68 million release clause, but doesn't become active until next year. Mino Raiola is taking a swipe at Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Paul Pogba out of the club. And he said a few other things as well. He says here, you know, Mino Raiola says he doesn't give a fuck if he never takes another player to Man United ever again. as long as his clients are happy. Mino Raiola has spoken quite a lot of times about Paul Pogba, about how unhappy he is at Manchester United. Made an announcement back in December last year saying that he was unhappy and he wanted to leave. He said his career is over. And it's over for him and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Ole was furious with that announcement because that was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. And it says, reports have claimed that some of those comments hit a new nerve at Man United after Raiola fell out with Sir Alex Ferguson during his time in charge. Raiola told The Athletic, with Mr. Ferguson or Pep Guardiola, I have this problem. And I think that it's changing now that they believe we should submit to them because otherwise tomorrow you don't do a play with Manchester United. I don't give a fuck if I never do another play with Man United. Like I just mentioned, I'm not in their hands. I'm independent. We have only one party that we can take care of, our players. And as long as our players like us, do what you have to do. So these are a few of the things that Mino Raiola has come out and said. Let's be honest, he doesn't really have a good relationship with Manchester United and he has been criticised a lot. And he has been desperate to get his client out of the football club because he did say earlier on this season that he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season at Man United, and he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. Paul Pogba has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. And I did say there's a good chance he'll go back to Juventus because he did enjoy 4 exceptional years with them before he rejoined Manchester United. Now, there's narratives coming out saying that Juventus have offered us Paulo Dybala in a swap deal for Paul Pogba. Juventus want a Paul Pogba swap deal, and it recently said they was willing to offload Adrian Rabiot and Aaron Ramsey to afford Pogba. Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he said that Juventus are refusing to give up on re-signing Paul Pogba, and he said Cristiano Ronaldo is key to Paul Pogba's exit. There was narratives from the Italian press earlier on this season saying that Juventus offered us like 4 players in exchange for Pogba. But if we was to sell Pogba in the summer transfer window, I reckon we'd get from between 60 to 70 million pounds. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hopes Paul Pogba will stay and sign a new contract. Solskjaer revealed we have been in talks with Paul Pogba over a new contract, but as far as I'm aware at the moment we have not yet made a formal contract offer. Now earlier on this season we triggered that 1-year extension on Paul Pogba's contract, so he's under contract with the club until June 2022. Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, he gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future earlier on this season, and he actually advised us to sell Pogba in the summer because he said there's a good chance he'll leave for free next year, and he said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. This is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. In recent months, we've been getting the best out of Paul Pogba, and obviously came on against Milan and scored the goal and made an instant impact. Not so long ago, come back from a thigh injury. He was out for a while. He was out with an ankle injury earlier on this season. He was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So, sustained a few injuries now at Man United. But I think it's very imperative that we keep him potentially past the summer, because he is an imperative player and he brings creativity to the team. Disregarding Paul Pogba, we lack creativity and we are far too defensive, and I think we need to keep him on the left wing, in more of an advanced role, because that's where he's more effective. He's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. But like I say, there has been a lot of players on our agenda. I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. And I've already identified the weaknesses in the squad. I think we need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre half. I can assure Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager in the summer transfer window, and he'll be Man United manager next season, because Solskjaer is not going to be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League this season. And Solskjaer has already agreed to sign a new 3-year contract with the club worth 30 million. It's likely to be 2 years with an option of an extra one. Sources at Old Trafford did say a few weeks ago, though, that talks were set to begin any day on the new deal, because Ole is now into the final year of his current 3-year contract. Does he deserve a new contract? In some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. But he must win a trophy as Manchester United manager, because he's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. But Solskjaer came out not so long ago and said winning trophies is an ego thing. And he said that in regards to some other clubs and some other managers. He just says clubs like Man United, trophies no longer prove success, but I think in that aspect he is definitely wrong. The Europa League's our only chance of winning any silverware this season. I can assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not the long-term manager for Man United, and a lot of Man United fans are Ole out. Not so long ago, Ole outs were trending on social media after our 3-1 defeat to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. Obviously, they've got main explanations why they want him out. But Ed Woodward believes that Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He did release a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him, and he's come out several times to show his support for Ole. Even during them bad periods, he assured that Solskjaer's job was safe. The main explanation why Solskjaer is still Manchester United manager is because he's a club legend, and I think that's what saved him. Disregarding him being a club legend, I'm very sceptical he'd have been here now. I reckon Solskjaer needs at least £200 million in the summer transfer window if he's to get the players that he wants to recommend in. He said earlier on this season that our transfer budget had been revealed and it was £80 million, and a lot of United fans were shocked in that aspect, because we know that's nowhere near enough for us to get the players we want to recommend in. But we're going to sell players in the summer transfer window, so in that aspect we're going to generate money and it'll help us with our rebuilding process. But Solskjaer did warn earlier on this season we may not do business as usual due to the coronavirus pandemic. He said he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. But I think there's a good chance he'll get the backing he deserves, because obviously we've got John Murtough, he's our director of football. John Murtough knows the club inside out. He's been at Man United since 2014. And it was the right decision to get a director of football in, because I did mention that's one of the structural changes that we needed at the club. And we've got Darren Fletcher, who's our technical director, and he knows the club through thick and thin. He endured 2 decades as a player for Man United. And Solskjaer's obviously had discussions with our recruitment team about our transfer targets and our transfer plans for the summer in general. I don't think Ole's been backed enough so far. He's endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager, and he's spent almost £300 million. I can assure that we will finish in the top 4 this season. I assured that after our 1-0 win against West Ham earlier on this season. But a top 4 finish without the Europa League isn't good enough to our standards. I've already said to you, if we can finish second this season and if we can win the Europa League, I'll turn around and say, yeah, that represents a good season for Man United and that gives us something to build on going on into next season. This is Ole's second full season at the football club. Next season will be his 3rd full season. He's been Manchester United manager now, is it around 28 months? So he's been here now over 2 years. Reflecting how long he's been at the club, he's gained some managerial experience and he's learned quite a few elements in that on the job. But my concerns about Ole, he hasn't got a proven pedigree, and his decision making also concerns me because in a lot of his games at Man United that he's managed, he's been tactically naive. But there's also been some games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but he doesn't show that enough. And I do think Solskjaer's in a position he shouldn't be really in. And I think we'd give him the job too soon. Maybe we should have waited until the end of that particular season to decide or not whether to give him the job. But we gave him the job permanently 2 years ago, reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager, because he did very, very well in that 3-month period. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. But Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. But we have got to credit him in quite a few aspects. We have enjoyed good periods under him. We're second in the Premier League. At one point, he got us top of the Premier League. We've got a very good away record under him. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. He got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. He's got us to the Europa League quarter-final. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. I think we've been in 4 semi-finals in total so far under Ole, because he got us to 3 semi-finals last season in his first full season. Also got us a 3rd place finish last season, the second highest we've finished since Ferguson. Got us qualification for the Champions League. We went on a 19-game unbeaten run as well in all competitions last season, 14 unbeaten in the Premier League. He's also got rid of a lot of players since he's coming as well, to his credit. The players he's brought in is Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire. Also brought Bruno Fernandes in, Odi Nagalo in on loan. Nagalo's no longer here, he left in January, but he still brought him in. And he's also brought the likes of Donny van de Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Amad Diallo Traore in Facundo Palestre. Facundo Palestre went out on loan in January. So he has made some good signings, and I do like the way he has promoted the youth. So they're the things you can credit him for. And I've probably got to say he's our best manager since Ferguson. He's our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired, and that was David Moyes. We sacked him after 10 months. He's the worst manager we've ever had. We finished 7th under the Moyes era, the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years, was it? Despite him winning 3 trophies and getting his 2nd place finish. I think it was in his first season. So you can say Mourinho enjoyed 1 good season. But in the last 8 years, nothing has changed at Manchester United, has it? Despite us sacking 3 managers, And despite us overpaying for players in that, and despite us spending over £1 billion, but I think we have made mistakes, and that's one of the main explanations why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. I do think the board has been one of the biggest issues at the club for a while. Main explanations is reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. And in general, the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. So there you go. I don't see us winning a Premier League title for a while, for at least a good 3-4 years maybe. I just don't think Solskjaer's good enough to lead us to a Premier League title. I hope I'm wrong though, but we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago. But yeah, like I say, we are going to sell players in the summer transfer window. There's a good chance Edison Cavani's going to leave in the summer transfer window. The Uruguay coach has urged Edison Cavani to leave the club. Now, Football Insider said a few weeks ago that Edison Cavani had reached a verbal agreement to join Boca Juniors at the end of the season. Edison Cavani's current contract expires in June. We have an option to trigger his contract for the further year. But we sell him in the summer transfer window, we won't receive a transfer fee for him. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that Cavani was closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Man United, and his father came out a few weeks ago and said that Edison Cavani's unhappy and he doesn't feel comfortable in England and he wants to leave. And prior to that, reports from Argentina said that Cavani's decided to leave after one season. Some United fans would like him to stay for next season because, to Cavani's credit, he has made an impact since he's come in, but he has sustained a few injuries. We got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a second year. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer transfer window because Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he hasn't converted them. Martial, I think, has got an injury, by the way, whilst he's been on international duty. So is he going to be out for the game against Brighton at the weekend? He had an hip injury not so long ago, and he had an injury before that as well. So he's just getting a few injuries now, he's Anthony Martial. Martial has probably had 2 good seasons at Man United. You know, he was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Van Gaal. We got him for £54 million from Monaco in 2015. But he's been at the club now over 5 years, and I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. But we sell him in the summer transfer window, I reckon we'll get £30 million. Juan Mata, good chance we're going to offload him. His current contract expires in June. There's an option to trigger his contract for a further year. You know, Juan Mata doesn't get in our team now, and my element of concern in general is that he has lost that yard of pace, and plus he's in his 30s. Earlier on this season, he rejected an $18 million a year contract offered to play in Saudi Arabia. Juan Mata has been at the club over 6 years, so you can say he's had a good career. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Donny van de Beek, I think there's a good chance we'll sell him in the summer transfer window because he isn't getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. That's the only reason I'm saying he should be sold. Obviously, if he was getting his chances, I'd say obviously keep him because he is actually a good player. I think we are set for transfer talks with Donny van de Beek. Mark Hughes has also been talking about him. He said he feels lost at Man United and he's edging closer to a Man United exit. Now, it's said not so long ago that Donny van de Beek feels loved at the club despite his lack of game time, but prior to that he said he'd threatened to quit Man United after one season due to his lack of game time. and he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. Most of Donny van de Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. Ole came out earlier on this season and made an admission saying that Van de Beek's unhappy due to his lack of game time, but promised him more game time at Man United. We got him in a deal worth £40 million, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. He can play as a box-to-box midfielder, number 10 and out wide. At Ajax, he was predominantly a box-to-box midfielder. Matic, good chance we're going to sell him because he's not one of our first-choice midfielders. But he still does get his chances at Man United. Analysing the vast majority of Matic's games, he's been way too inconsistent. He's had some good games, but I've always had my strong reservations about him because he's always been a static player and he's been too easily predictable. I think the club made a mistake by giving him that new 3-year contract before the start of this season. Matic has been at the club almost 4 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Pogba, he could still leave in the summer. There again, he could stay potentially past the summer. Phil Jones, I want him to go as well. Phil Jones is the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. This is his 10th season at the club, so he's been a long servant. He's always been inconsistent. Jones has been out of injury for around 14 months now, which is over a year. Sergio Romero, I'm also expecting him to go. Will Eric Bailly leave in the summer? I don't want him to because I think he's a good centre-half. My only element of concern about Eric Bailly is that he's injury-prone, so in that aspect, he is a liability. Contract talks, I think, at the moment for Eric Bailly are on hold. Because Eric Bailly wants assurances over his playing time before making a decision. Bailly recently apologised to Solskjaer and his Man United teammates for his disrespectful behaviour, because he said he was furious with Ole because he felt disrespected and not wanted by him. And Bailly believes we're only offering him a new contract to simply increase his asking price. And De Gea, a good chance we'll sell him in the summer transfer window. So obviously we can make Dean Henderson our first choice goalkeeper. I think De Gea's now had his years at Man United. It's time for him to move on. This is De Gea's 10th season at the club. He's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. De Gea has made over 500 appearances in all competitions and he's won everything domestically at the football club. In the last couple of years, he's been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he's made, but a few years ago, he was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. I reckon we get from between 50 to 60 million if we sell De Gea in the summer transfer window. Earlier on this season, Solskjaer warned De Gea that his number 1 jersey was under threat. And it says we are willing to listen to offers. I think there's a good chance he'll go back to Spain. Main explanations: born in Spain, relatives are from Spain, girlfriend from Spain, began his footballing career in Spain. And back in 2015, he was very close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine on deadline day, his move to Real Madrid never materialised. And I think we'll be also looking to get rid of Delors permanently. So imagine if we sell them players in the summer transfer window. We'll generate a substantial amount and it'll help us with our rebuilding process. It really will. But like I say, we haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired, and like I've said over and over again, no one is going to replicate what Ferguson did at the club. Ferguson endured 26-27 year tenure at Man United and won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles, so he brought success to the club. But he didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. And a lot of Man United fans predicted it was all going to go wrong when Ferguson retired, and I thought the same. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.